Okay, the next fly to show you is a red quill tied parachute fashion. You see the hackle wound around horizontally with feather wing. I don't use feather wing so much these days. I tend to use wing cutters, but I just want to show you various techniques, so I will demonstrate this fly to you today. Very good fly on our river. The parachute fly is well, it was invented by a Scottish company called Alex Martin's, and it's shown in their catalogue in 1931, sort of 32. And it was invented by one of their tyers, a lady called Helen Todd. And she designed this fly, this parachute-style hackle, because she heard fishermen always wanted a fly that always alighted, that's landed on the water and fished the right way up. So the hackle wound that way acts as a parachute, and the hook acts as a sort of an anchor. So that's how that came about. It's a very good catcher of fish, but it doesn't, you don't see many of them these days. They're a little bit harder to tie, but as we progress with this series, it's my mission to show you different techniques. Okay, well, I'm using a brown silk. It's the usual size, uni thread 8/0. This is a black one because it's a new reel, and but I'm using the brown version of it. And the hook is a size 12. I normally do it on a 14, but I think the 12 will show up better on the demonstration. Okay, here we go. First of all, I wind forward with 3 turns. Start behind the eye, then 1, 2, 3, then back 3, and secure the silk. Now I'll take the silk halfway down the shank, then back up towards the eye. I'm trying to keep a nice foundation here because I put the wings on first, the feather fibre wings. Now the feather fibre wings are cut from mallard primary feathers. As you can see, I've been using these, and they're cut from these. Now they're a very good strong feather. I don't think there's much better. This is how I do it, as you know. I'm not sure if I've shown you this before, but you decide on the width you want. That's one. Cut it off. Like that. And now we take one from the opposing feather from the other wing. That's one from a left and one from a right. So we select about the same size again. It's about like that. And I'll cut that off. Now, a lot of the books, the old books where they use fibre wings, recommend starling wings. I used starling wings for years, but they're too delicate really. And then I moved on to using the J wing primaries, and the J wings were also too delicate. This is how we are when I marry them, mate them up together like that. I think there's no other wing worth bothering with. The mallard fibres are the best. Now I get my rough length, it's sort of towards the bend there, and I do a pinch and loop. Sometimes this is a bit fiddly to do. You're squeezing down, this is what you're trying to do. And if you see the front of the feather coming up like that, you're in with a chance on the first one. And that's pretty good there. Now I can give some more winds, and I will remove the surplus. Now on this I don't remove the surplus. what I do is I bend them back like this and tie them behind. I'm used to removing the surplus with other types of wing, and that was a bit of a habitual statement there. Now, you see the wings upright like that, and I've got them secured. Now what I'll do, now I will remove the surplus. And it's important you sort of cut these at a bit of an angle, because they're going to form part of they're going to be the underlay for the body, and unless you can tie them down like that, you'll have a stepped and rough body. Now, these are the wings, as you can see. I'll just tilt these a little bit towards you. Hopefully you can see what I'm aiming at. Okay, now the next item is the tail. And for the tail we use cock hackle. Cock hackle, large cock hackle, length, normally length of the body, but on a dry fly I like to do it a bit longer. I tie it in on the side and it goes over like that and ends up right on the bend of the hook. And that's a bit too long, so I'm going to reduce that a bit, about there. That's more like it. Okay, I like to give a wind underneath to bring spread the tail a bit, and that's where we are. And now I'm going to remove the surplus of the tail. Again, I'm cutting a bit of an angle so that we can get the nice level body that we want. Okay. Leveling out this body, give us a nice even surface, and I'll go back down to the tail to tie in the body. And the body is from the peacock eye feather, and you can see where I've cut some off this one, peacock eye. We just take one of these strands, put it on a hard surface, on a Formica bench or something, run a school rubber down it, and remove the flue, this furry substance that you can see there. I've already done it in advance, and you're left with this, which is got a longitudinal stripe. This fly is called a red quill, and I then run a red felt permanent marker pen down it on a piece of paper to give me the colour. And this is going to be our body. Makes a nice body, and I'll tie that in. And now I'll take the silk up. I'll just remove this piece of quill, and I'll take the silk up behind the wings, ready to tie it, secure the body when I've wound it on. Okay, now I'm going to put some varnish, because this quill makes a nice body, a nice sort of segmented looking body, but there's no rib to strengthen it, and it is quite weak. So I'm going to just put some varnish along it like that. Just for the time being, I'll put my silk towards the front. Okay. Try to do this in touch and turns. If you overlap, you won't get the effect of the stripe along the body. And at this stage, Don't worry about the wing at all. The wing will straighten up later on as we go. It's a very popular body in dry flies. A little bit fiddly to put on, but worth doing. Now that I'm up there, I can secure it with the silk. Like that. So there we have the wings, and we have the body on. I'm just going to nip this piece off. Okay. Now at this stage, I like to add a bit of a thorax. And the thorax I'm going to use is a bit of rabbit. I like rabbit very much. It's so easy to tie. We just get a piece of rabbit patch like this. Hardly any. It's surprising. You just don't need very much at all. It just needs... I don't know if you can see that. We can always add more. Very easy fur to dub. Up behind the wings, like this, underneath, a bit in front, a bit behind, a bit in front like that, and that's the thorax. Okay, next we put on the hackle, and the hackle is from a red cape, like this. I like a black center to it, so I'm going to use one of these. Take it out. This is my hackle. Just prepare it. Pull off the rubbish at the bottom so that I can tie it in. Just before I do it, I see I've got a loose feather there. Just nip that one away with a bit of luck. Okay. Now the hackle is going to be wound horizontally, so I'm tying him on flat. Oops. Bend the stalk back to secure, like that, and then I'll find the stalk and nip it off. Now, I'm going to wind it round the wing, and I do some spiraling turns up the wing. In other words, open sort of turns, because the main windings are going to be down. I'm coming down now to the hook shank. Now don't worry too much about the position of the wings at this stage. They will tend to twist, and we will straighten them up afterwards. Now you can see where I'm going here with this. I've gone around the shank. Now I'm going to secure the hackle in the front like this. Pull it back a bit, ready to cut it off. couple of fibres hanging over. I'll deal with those to keep the eye clear. Now, to finish off, this is one fly where I use the half hitches. The half hitch is, for me, the way I do it, it's easier for me to do a half hitch than to put on the whip finish. The whip finish is more secure, but I find it a bit difficult to do on a parachute fly. I dip my needle in the varnish and I add some varnish so that the whip finish goes on, so the half hitch goes on to wet and tacky varnish. I'm sure you'll see what I mean when I start to do the half hitches. I turn them around like that, keep a bit of tension and put on the whip finish. There's one. At least 3, 2, 3. Another tip with the whip finish, I leave the silk hanging while I now varnish the head. I use the whip finish, I used the half hitches for years, and I never had a fly come undone because I always touch your varnish first, and then I didn't cut the silk tight straight away. And I may have shown you that before, I'm not quite sure, but while it's there like that, I leave about an inch or so, just like that. Now when the varnish is dry, I will cut it tight. Now then, back to these wings to reposition them. And the hackle, we bring it forward. I would normally wait for it to dry a bit, but now you see there's the wings were twisted and I brought them back level, and I'm going to now fix the wing position with my varnish, and this is how I do it. Get some varnish on my brush. I use Sally Hansen's for this, and I get my 2 wings and I bend them down to put the varnish right in the center there. Don't need too much, but you want a blob. Now this has 2 purposes really. It not only fixes the wing position, which I will do in a moment, but it keeps the hackle on as well. Now then, put the wings where I want them. Sort of like that. Very good fly. You will see I've not cut the silk yet, but can you see the position of the wings? And the hackle is horizontal. You can straighten it up a bit if you like, but all that's left on that fly now is when the varnish has gone hard, I will cut it tight to the eye. And that's it. I will just now, as usual, always clear the eye. If I can, up or down, doesn't matter. There it goes. That clears the eye, ready for my leader when I'm down the river. I will bring the hackle probably over a little bit when the varnish is all dry. But that is the fly I wanted to demonstrate to you. It's called the red quill, hence the body. It's called the red quill parachute feather wing. Okay, hope you picked up a few points there, and I thank you for watching.